Hello, and welcome to another episode of Never Go Against the Family. We're coming to you live from the University of Northern Iowa Family Business Center in Cedar Falls, Iowa. We follow family businesses and topics that help your family business sustain itself. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of Never Go Against the Family. This is Katie, and I'm delighted to be joined by Jenny Steffensmeier today. Jenny, welcome to the podcast.
No, thank you for having me, Katie. This is going to be really fun.
Yes. Jenny, you own Steffensmeier Welding down in Pilot Grove. Will you tell me a little bit about, your business, location, how many employees you have, just some grounding facts about Steffensmeier?
Sure. Well, we're located in Pilot Grove, Iowa, where my late husband, Ben Steffensmeier, started the company back in 1982. And fast forward to 2015, we lost Ben. And so I kind of assumed the helm at that point. He had a dementia, so I had started, well, thank goodness years ago, I did start helping out there, and he had a secretary at the time who, did all the things, and she taught me a lot. So now I'm doing all of that with my two sons that are there. So yeah, it's really been quite a journey. I was not a leader by any means back in my days of being an X-ray technician and a sonographer in the healthcare setting, but I don't know. I guess maybe I should challenge that thought. I think we're probably all leaders. We all have opportunities to lead every day, no matter what we're doing. But yeah, it was definitely a lot all at one time. But yeah, two of the five kids are in the business today, and we're looking for them to just take it on over.
Amazing. Okay, so you talked about a lot here. Take me back to 1982. You and Ben, I assume, were married when you were starting the business. Tell me how that
Actually,
looked.
yeah, no, I didn't know Ben in 1982. There was an age gap there. Everybody said he robbed the cradle. So we it was the summer between my junior and senior year of high school. So I graduated in 1989. He went to my senior prom. I think so. Ben would have been like 25.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
God,
that's not that
my
much of an age
mom.
gap.
Pardon me.
That's not terrible of an age
No,
gap.
no, it's not. It's not terrible. The look on my mom's face when she saw us walk into her little establishment there in West Point, Iowa. My folks were one of the small town bar owners in West Point. Anyway, um, yeah, so uh, we fell in love. That's what it was, It was just a love story, and uh, life was really good.
Mhm.
We started. Well, I debated. He did ask me early on in those dating days, if I wanted to help out at the business. And I would. There's a ledger book around here somewhere. I need to find that because I came across it in one of my moves, but it's got my handwriting in it. And I kind of remember helping him make those entries. This is before QuickBooks and computers and emails and um so yeah, I helped in and then, trimmed the bushes, mowed the grass, cleaned the toilets. Still doing all that today.
Yeah.
Actually, it's my favorite parts to do. And the boys are allowing me, the ability to go back and do those things. And they're doing the heavy lift of, just the business decision making and all of that stuff that I wasn't prepared to be doing. So it's been definitely an easier transition this go around. But I don't know. Ben was a great boss. He was really, really. He absolutely loved what he did, and I think it just showed through. His employees, he had a couple of brothers that worked there, and some of the guys that were in our wedding worked for him. So it was really a small, you know, family feel environment. And I think, it was a perfect storm, but there was lots of disruption and whatnot. So it was just kind of this tornado whirlwind that occurred, I feel like, over a few years there during and after Ben's illness. And we're getting back to that feel. The boys, um, they were so young when their dad passed away, and with the dementia, they really did not know Ben Steffensmeier. It makes me incredibly sad to say that, but it's a little bit of the reality of it. But his blood runs through them because they are their dad, and I am reminded of that daily.
Well, Jenny, that's so
No.
special. So
Yeah,
special that you get to see that and that I'm sure your employees get to see that too. Bringing the life of the business with his legacy like that. That's really wonderful.
yeah.
Um, how did or when and how did your boys get involved in the business?
Well, these youngest two, it's just always been so much a part of them, I think. Their oldest brother I remember one day in particular, Ben brought Isaac to the shop and they got back home and Isaac just wasn't really, he just really wasn't into it. I mean, I think Ben had him pushing a broom. It wasn't like he got to, run parts. He was just a little guy. But um, for Aaron and Nathan, it's been different. They, went off after high school and did their thing. Or excuse me, Aaron, the older of the two, he just turned the ripe old age of 26.
Mm.
So he went to Iowa State for a year, and then it was COVID season. He did not go back, and so he's been at the shop for, I want to say, he was there gone. I want to say like 3 years now, close to 3 years for him. And then Nathan went straight to the Marine Corps after he finished high school and did his 4 years there like he wanted to, and then this is what he wants to do. So he's back. And it's very, very fun to watch them work together. They really do have they mesh pretty well. As a matter of fact, the three of us are meshing pretty well, I must.
Hey, that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
What are all of your um job titles? I know that's kind of negligible sometimes, but what are your titles and what are your roles in the business?
Huh. Gosh, Katie, what a great question.
Who
You
knows?
know, as I've thoroughly enjoyed the opportunities when able to participate in the UNI family succession opportunities that you guys have, and there's lots of talk about succession and family governance and listening to everybody share their wonderful stories and just, for me, getting to understand that, oh my gosh, like we're not the only ones and everybody's in different places of this journey. So there was a book recently someone recommended to me, and I said to the boys, you got to read this book. Aaron's a reader, Nathan, not so much. So Aaron read the book, and like the next week, he said, okay, Mom, you got to get the org chart out. Let's do the organizational chart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, because there was a chapter in the book about two brothers owning this business together and, like all the roles and responsibilities. And so, why? And we are not done with that meeting. We got a good start to it. That's been over a month ago. We need to get back to it. But I mean, I think we spent less than an hour and, it was just the three of us. and it's the three of us. So there's nobody else. We didn't do beyond the three, so and really a lot of it was two because, the idea is they're the ones doing all of this. It brought such clarity. Like it it literally changed after the meeting the way I sent emails to
Mm.
them. Like,
Wow. Like, t give me an example, like, of, like, did you, like,
yeah,
see them assume responsibility over certain areas? Is that kind of what you're talking about?
yes, exactly. So, and we were trying to keep it really simple, stupid, like a three-legged stool. So, operations, finance, sales, and marketing. So, this email is around, it's from our fractional CFO. Okay, so he has a question, and here's the well, I wouldn't pick Nathan. I would pick Aaron because that's who we identified on the chart. Now, of course, Nathan's copied on it, but you know, and it just like this is why your name, we all three knew. Now we know this is why you're the one. Because remember, this is the part why we are not done with that meeting because we are going to all draft something. It's just us. But we're going to sign our names and date it.
Mm,
Like
wow.
whatever it is, like this is what you're responsible for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. Because how many employees do you have?
Yes. I believe we are at 10.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I feel like, I'm not in the technical side of family business, governance, succession planning that much, but especially for a founder generation to be talking to that second generation and having these conversations at this level is incredible. I mean, just setting the foundation for what could be really, really complicated succession planning if they have kids and pass it on. So that's pretty great to be starting now, Jenny.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's unfortunate. Can look at things all kinds of different ways, but it is unfortunate. It was a horrible tragedy that we lost Ben. But the fortunate part is how close we are. And so, I just think, I mean, it was just I don't know, the end of 2025. Um, the boys and I went through a rough patch. It was not fun days. And, we were trying to do a lot all at once, and we knew that restructuring, kind of reorganizing. Um, their older sister, Rachel, our oldest daughter, was at the company with me for about 3 years before the boys joined. And then she and I started this other business. So she left to do that. And we had some the boys just wanted to do everything. They're just like being sponges and they definitely have their dad in them. They're just tight asses. I think that we all are, but they were just on a mission to learn and do. They just and it terrified me because I'm like, well, then who's going to do all of this? Uh, and then we were butting heads on how to do things, which I'm still really struggling with. I mean, actually, I'm not really struggling with anymore. I am getting much, much better. It's very, very hard to let go. And I know they're not going to do it, but gosh, uh,
So, because when Ben passed, you took over a lot of responsibility really quickly, and you've been doing that for the better part of 10 years. So now you're talking about passing on some responsibility to your boys. Is that right?
yeah. I mean, they have assumed a lot of the load. I mean, Katie, I am sitting here at home and I don't have to be there and I'm kind of they've given me liberty to spend some time, a lot of reflecting and, you know, I need to do things differently. And really, the evidence already is showing up that it matters how you say what you say.
Mm.
And I know that, like we all know that, but to actually change, you know, here I've expressed frustration over all these years that people don't want to change and how do I get them to change? And I was the one who needed to change.
Oh no.
100%. I was the one. If I'd have figured that out sooner, but it's taken me a long time to figure out that I was the problem. And now that I know that I'm the problem, it's still very hard. It's still
Mhm.
very hard to change.
Do I don't need to get into the weeds of anything, but do you have any like regular meetings or do your boys have like a saying that they say to you when you're um
Um,
kind of in that mode?
No, they don't do that. And I have very little, like virtually nothing to do with the day-to-day of, like I used to do what Nathan does, schedule the jobs and, make sure that everybody's got something to do. I mean, it was really ridiculous. I had no business, but there was nobody else to do it. Um, we do not have meetings regularly other than the Monday mornings, which is turning into Monday afternoon, so just kind of better. That in that meeting, I'm just talking about the boys and I. Um, and it's around, I finally came up with, we talk about dashboards and metrics and all of these things. I I left my office yesterday for the day. I think it was about 5:30, and I stopped in Aaron's office. So my office is now, or it was one of the kids' bedrooms. And the office and then I walked through what was our living room, through what was our kitchen, and now I'm in Aaron's office, which was the baby's room.
Oh my gosh, your business was your home.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Jenny.
Yeah.
Wow.
We lived above there. Four of the five kids were born. Nathan was not born there. I finally talked Ben into it. We built a beautiful home a mile down the road.
A little
And
separation, right?
yes, oh my gosh, I wanted that so badly. And, now I just wish Ben were here. We would just talk about a million things, a million things. Um, I get it. I get it, Ben. I'm so sorry. It consumed him.
Yeah.
Like we couldn't just go to Walmart and get groceries and diapers and formula and like all the things. Oh no, we got to run over to Menards because I got to get this and that for the shop. I'm like, geez, can we ever just not talk about the shop? Can we just be normal people?
Mm,
Well, I get it because that's all it consumes me.
yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, and maybe this is a good transition point because you started this business with your daughter Rachel too. Will you tell me a little bit about that? Because that's family working with family, and you kind of already knew maybe what you were signing up for when you started a business with her. So what is that? What does that look like?
Well, so Rachel had, gone off to college and now she's back here locally. And she shared with me one day that she was kind of looking maybe at, doing something different. And so she has an interview. Now she's got a second interview, a third interview. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want her. I I need somebody to do, our website and sales and marketing.
Mhm.
So the official offer letter, like I typed up, like a real offer letter and drove through town and slid it under her front door and called her and then laid on the guilt trip. Rachel, you, with your abilities, you have the opportunity to literally put your dad's company on the map.
Mhm.
Just, given the nature of what you would be doing, like social media, all the things. Well, she declined that offer for more money and joined me. She did first ask, what about us? What about our relationship? Oh, it'll be fine. And it has been fine because yeah, she's pretty amazing. Um, so she's working at Steffensmeier Welding and she's got her little office upstairs in that very same office. I was just telling you I bumped into Erin last night before I left. That's where she lived. And she said, geez, Mom, there is like no leadership down there. And I said, I know. So she just moved her office downstairs, just injected herself, poop right there, front and center. And she's fun and funny, so she's likable. So she fit in very well, I would say. Uh, so she's trying to think of something that we could make. Like we're kind of service based. A lot of custom fabrication, repair work, and um, what's something that we could just make? It's our own product line. And so she came upstairs in that office one day and said, Mom, what do you think of this? And she had on a piece of paper, she had doodled these different shapes and they were weights like that you would work out with, like your dumbbells. But instead of hiding them under your bed, you put them out and they're beautiful. So I always say she caught me in a weak moment because I said yes. Well, I mean, it was an amazing idea. It is an amazing idea. So we launched a business called Subtle Impacts. And Rachel does the whole thing. If anybody Googles it, whatever you see, it's all Rachel. Like she also has well, she's stopped doing this now. But she had a photography business. So she just likes to make things look nice. And she kind of has a little talent doing it, I'd say. So that's been really fun. Yeah. Her
Cool.
studio is upstairs in the dwelling of, the bedrooms are like the periphery and those are the offices. And the living room, my oldest son is a builder guy. He builds stuff. And so we had him come just kind of give that room a makeover. And that's Rachel's studio where she does a lot of her content for Subtle Impacts. And then, the shop, we use the forklifts, the trucks. I mean, Rachel and I are very, very aware and thankful for Steffensmeier Welding and, the ability we could have never done this without um, Steffensmeier Welding, you know. Yeah. So the boys kind of roll their eyes at it, but they do it because we get cast pieces from a foundry, but they have to have holes tapped in the bottom of them so that they can be hung for painting, which we now do at Steffensmeier Welding. And then they get boxed up and Rachel makes her trips out and puts her stickers on them and ships them out,
Wow,
literally all over the world.
that's great. So it sounds like it's been a successful offshoot.
Yeah, it's starting to really get some traction. Which is why she left Steffensmeier Welding about a year ago, because we just decided she's got to do this full time or it's just not gonna work. I mean, it was two full-time jobs. I don't know how she was doing it in the first place, but
Sounds like
yeah.
maybe she has a little bit of her dad in her too. Mhm.
Ah, yes, all
That
of my kids have this entrepreneurial thing going on. That is just not me. Except now that I am, I think it is me. I mean, there are parts of this that I just absolutely love. And up until recently, I've been terrified of why would I transition this over to my children? Like, this is a lot. And I don't want my stress and anxiety to just go now to them. But, we're all wired differently. And when it comes to Steffensmeier welding, I am wound about as tight as yeah.
Mm.
Now, if I'm in my healthcare setting, I became a hospice volunteer, and so when I get to do that, then I'm not wound. It's two different worlds for sure, but my comfort is much more in that space, I would say.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my next question was going to be, are you um planning to transition fully out of the business at some point? Do you have thoughts about that? What are you doing with your free time? Sounds like some volunteering, which is wonderful.
Sounds like what?
Volunteering, which is wonderful.
Oh, yes, yes. I do hope to do more of that. It's taken me a good year to be able to say yes to some of the opportunities, but I'm in a season now of where it's time for me to let go and give back. I think that I do have I had a lot of healing. I could have never, facilitated a support group or something, shortly after Ben passed. But I always did think that someday, and so I could see myself, doing something like that. Um, yeah. Yeah, the boys, I mentioned the rough spell there, just really just a few short months ago, but the the organizational chart clarifying meeting was extremely beneficial. And yeah, to finish that thought about when I left last night and said goodnight to Aaron, I told him, Aaron, I'm going to tell you two things. Number one, congratulations. Like, do you have that? Open up that screen. I want to show you something. So I showed him what, and then I said thank you.
Mm.
And honestly, I am feeling like I'm not feeling anymore like I'm handing over this albatross that's been on my neck and I'm giving it to them. I said, Aaron, I have been working my tail off for years to be able to do what you are looking at. And there's no way that we would have that if you and Nathan didn't hang in there with me. And, sometimes I just, now, this is all it was. This is all it is, Katie. Um, Years ago, we had the paper or work orders. A job comes in, you fill out the work order, you hang it on the wall. Well, one weekend, I was like, there just has to be a better way, you
Mm.
know. Uh, so I found everything is done electronically now. It's not an official ERP. We haven't pulled that trigger yet. Probably next quarter maybe.
Okay.
Um, but it's the ability to see your orders. People would say, and I run around and talk to a lot of business owners now, or
Mm.
and they know how they're booked. Oh, we're booked through Q3. And I'm like, okay, really? How do they know that? Like, oh my gosh, Aaron, look at that.
Like
Look,
now you
look
can.
at it. We have it. Yeah. So sometimes my Rachel gets her stubbornness. She might get a little bit of that from somebody I know. I don't know. Persistence, resilience. I see that in the boys as well.
Mm.
There's no question they have what it takes. You just have to work hard. You have to work, you have to work, you have to work, and you have to treat people. Aaron got really mad at me. I'm talking about Aaron a lot, even though Nathan and I seem to talk more during the days. Aaron is the silent one. So when he speaks, I listen.
Sure. Yep.
He got really mad at me because I was mad. I was. frustrated that they need to log their times. If the guys would log their time, it would make so many things so much easier. It's putting more work on you and Nathan. He just, I don't know, he didn't like he in a different conversation later, he said, I just don't like you talking about the employees like that or something like that.
Mhm.
And it wasn't like we were having a bashing conversation on somebody's personality or, it was just, in my mind, this is part of their job. It's one of their responsibilities, and it's part of your responsibility that they are held accountable to do that, and we know why. It's like the change thing. Intellectually, we know why we need to do something. But if you haven't done it before, it's not that they haven't done it before. Anyway, it's just a little tiny snippet example of that is incredibly important how you're treating your people.
Mm. Okay.
And I don't have a worry in my bone that those boys are not going to treat their people the way their mom would expect them to treat people. Like,
And that's a family business for you.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I love it. Wow. Okay, I know we're reaching the end of our time here, but I wanted to ask if you have any, as you're in this season of perhaps transition of leadership and responsibilities, do you have any advice for another founding generation that's looking to pass it on to their children?
The kids and I, every time this is what it goes back to. And I don't think it's corny. I don't think it's corny at all for us business professionals or whatever we think we are. You really do have to love the four-letter word. That's what we talk about a lot. You just, and I mentioned Ben loved. That's what's coming out.
Love.
You don't have to love every part of your job. That's not what I'm talking about, right? You just have to love.
Well, Jenny, that's wonderful. That's really grounding, I think. Grounding and very unifying, I'm sure, within a business and within your family. So,
Yeah, I like that you use that word, Katie, grounding, because I have not been grounded. I have not been grounded. I think that I was as a child, as a, you know, young mother, a young wife, and I think that I was pretty grounded. But then, when life takes a turn, I pretty much lost it there.
yeah.
And I created this whirlwind around me. So I think, I don't know, I was lucky enough to grow up with love. And I think I just kind of forgot about that a little bit in the chaos.
Yeah. Jenny, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing your story and for being on our advisory board. Just being willing
Oh,
to reflect with you. And I know we probably have a meeting coming up sometime this spring to ask y'all to help us plan for the next year. So thank you for being a springboard and just a wonderful voice in the family business space here in Iowa.
well, you're welcome, Katie. Thank you for having me on. I love it.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Never Go Against the Family, a podcast produced by the University of Northern Iowa Family Business Center. You can find more information about the center, membership, and upcoming events at unifamilybusinesscenter.com. As Vito Corleone advises, never go against the family.